Hey guys, it's me again, this time bringing you a review of the 1978 John Carpenter horror classic, Halloween. Now, like I said, the film's directed by John Carpenter, and also he wrote the script along with Debra Hill. It stars Jamie Lee Curtis in her first film ever. Um, there were multiple people to play Michael Myers in this movie, if I remember right, but the most well-known one is Tony Moran. It also stars Donald Pleasence as Dr. Loomis, PJ Souls, and Nancy Keys. I think that's how you say it. Um, but the film follows, the film is about a 6-year-old boy who murders his sister with a kitchen knife, so they send him away to a psychiatric ward, and then 15 years later, the night before Halloween, he ends up escaping and going on a murderous rampage on Halloween. There's more to the plot that I could say, but I don't want to spoil anything, even though probably everybody knows the things I'm talking about. But if you've never seen it and haven't really heard much about it, I don't want to spoil anything. But the main thing I can say about this film is it's definitely very suspenseful. I'd say it's on par with Psycho in terms of suspense. Another thing I can say is, like A Nightmare on Elm Street, this film is pretty atmospheric. It's definitely very creepy. I mean, when I first saw this movie, I was scared shitless. But now I've seen so many horror movies that I'm kind of immune to them. But like I said, when I first saw this, it scared the shit out of me. Um, One thing that John Carpenter was aiming for this movie was to make Michael Myers almost like an entity, like basically the representation of evil itself. And I think he successfully did this. And I'm going into detail about this part because this is one thing that I think was done so well with the movie. Firstly, Michael Myers really is a shape. They even just, I think that's even what he's listed as in the credits. He seems to be everywhere or anywhere all at once. He basically moves through the shadows. He's, I think, what you'd call catatonic. He's speechless, emotionless, doesn't feel anything, no remorse or anything. Um, the mask. One thing I love about the mask is it's cheap. They basically just took a um William Shatner mask and painted it over in white. So I like how it's just like a cheap Halloween store mask. One thing I love about the mask is even with masks, you still get kind of like expressions and emotion and faces on them. This mask is a pale white. It's faceless, emotionless, and that added with his catatonic state and it completely dehumanizes Michael Myers. I mean, he has no feeling, no emotion, no face or anything. I mean, without his mask, he's just not as scary. With the mask, he's definitely scary because he becomes something else, something inhuman. And they just did such a good job with this. I mean, a realistic killer can be scary because the thought this could really happen. But I mean, the idea of just something that's completely inhuman and seems unkillable, and it's basically like a shark. It won't stop until it gets everything, or consumes everything in its path. That's basically what Michael Myers is. He's like the shark from Jaws. He just won't stop until everything in his path is dead and he can't seem to be killed. And I just can't emphasize enough on this because it was just so well done. And that's one thing I love about this movie. Also the score, because the score can make or break a horror movie. It can make or break any movie, but especially horror movies. The score is just so simple and well done. I mean, any part of the score, including the theme, if you were to play that for me, I could automatically tell it's Halloween. It was just so well done, and that's what good theme music should do. Trying to think of what else I can really say about this movie. I think that's pretty much it. Also, the acting is great. That's the last thing I'll say about this movie. Is the acting is phenomenal. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis, she's definitely earned the right to be called the Scream Queen. Scream Queen. She has some great screams. Donald Pleasence does a phenomenal job as Dr. Loomis, and that brings me to another thing that I love about this movie is well, the franchise as a whole is Dr. Loomis is just as cool of a character as the killer, and he actually is in all the movies up to part 6. which is cool because a horror movie franchise, to continue it, you always have to have the killer in it. But for Halloween, you also have to have Dr. Loomis. I mean, he's just such a great character, and I like him just as much as Michael Myers. Like I was saying, that's one thing I like about Halloween as compared to the other horror movie franchises. But and Tony Moran and the other people that play Michael do a great job with it. They do a good job at not showing any emotion or like any pain or anything like that. Anyways, now I'll go on to the Blu-ray. Um, I did have this on DVD before the Blu-ray, but as you know from my previous videos, if it's on Blu-ray, I have to have it on Blu-ray, especially if it's a movie I love. This is pretty much the same case or cover art as the DVD, which I do have lying around somewhere. I was going to give it to my girlfriend, but she kept on forgetting to take it. So I still have it lying around here because I know my parents, they're not into horror movies really, but they actually like this one. Like I said, same cover art, I'm pretty sure. Minus, I think, the stars and stuff, and of course the beyond high definition. The back is the same, minus that blue stuff in there with that writing. Um, I think this has more features than the DVD. I could be wrong. If you were going to upgrade from that DVD to this Blu-ray, one thing I would do is research to see if the features are that much different. It does have a commentary with Jamie Lee Curtis, Debra Hill, and John Carpenter. That's cool. Best film facts. Don't really care about that. Has some radio spots, TV spots, a trailer, the cut above the rest featurette, which I heard is awesome. So I'd check to see if you already have the standard DVD, if it has these features or not. The picture, as far as I can tell, even though I have a standard TV, looks really nice. It looks cleaned up well. Definitely worth an upgrade for the picture, even if you already own one of the DVDs. I know there's also the extended edition and the 25th. I'm not sure what the 25th has on it, but I'd say if you had the 25th or the standard, definitely upgrade to this. If you have the extended cut, which actually I enjoy the extended cut, but I prefer the original cut a lot more. But it's definitely worth a look, and it is kind of rare now. So if you so happen to have the extended cut, I'd keep it and upgrade to this. I forget what the extended cut has for features, but it'd definitely be worth it to have the extended cut and have this Blu-ray. So I'd say if you already own the DVD, definitely worth an upgrade. But if you have the extended cut, keep it. Um, Also, you'd probably do some research into features to see if the 25th is worth keeping. But if you don't already own it, I definitely recommend just picking up the Blu-ray. It's definitely worth it. It's such a good movie, and it's cool to have a good movie, a good classic movie like this on Blu-ray. And if you're like me, you probably already own it on Blu-ray, even if you had like 50 DVD copies. Um, So like I said, keep the extended cut. It's worth a look. And why not? And if you can find it for a good price, because I know it is kind of rare now, buy the extended cut and this Blu-ray. But this is also like the previous two movies I reviewed, another must-buy and must-own. It's one of the greatest of its kind. I mean, if you're a horror movie fan and haven't seen this, I'd be surprised. But definitely, that's Halloween. Definitely pick it up, and I'd definitely say worth getting on Blu-ray. Anyways, that's all I have for this review, and thanks for watching. Bye.